All right, guys, thank you so much for checking out Saving Green. My name is Josh here at the channel. We look at the science and crunch the numbers to help you make informed decisions to help the wallet and the planet at the same time. And today we're going to talk about EV crossovers, one of the fastest growing segments in the US and really around the world today, and for good reason. They provide a great compromise between price, performance, storage, and efficiency, and the crossover segment provides a lot of practical compromises. So I looked at 18 vehicles that I think represent a good swath of the market today, to some luxury options as well, and everything in between. And I focused really on the specific objective specifications that I could look up. I looked at things from the manufacturer or from other third-party websites with information that I think is accurate, that will represent the metrics that are important when we're comparing apples to apples. So what did I look at? Well, obviously price. I looked at the MSRP, I looked at the size of the battery, I looked at the speed of the vehicles from 0 to 60, I looked at the capacity in storage, both in trunk space and with the second seats folding down. I think these are practical applications that a lot of people and families are concerned about. And I looked at the efficiency in terms of charging speed and in terms of miles per kilowatt hour, which is an important everyday metric when you think about really how many miles you can get per charge day to day. So let's look at the vehicles. Alphabetically, as you can see on the spreadsheet, these are the cars that I'm looking at, and I have the MSRPs listed here. Now, I didn't include every trim on every model, but just basically the lowest, cheapest way to get in on these vehicles, and then maybe one trim above that. In general, all the rear-wheel drive trims are going to be more efficient than the all-wheel drive at the expense of some performance. All these vehicles, except for the Teslas, are available for the $7,500 tax credit, and overall the average is about $55,000 for all of these vehicles. In terms of the kilowatt hour size, the average battery capacity is just under 80 kilowatt hours. As you can see here, 79.26. But that's an important metric when you think about the environmental footprint. If you want to learn more about the environmental footprint of lithium-ion batteries specifically, I have a video up here that goes into the science and the carbon cost per kilowatt hour. I also have the total miles of range. Again, people get very tied up in this metric. I actually don't think it's as important as people think. If most people are going to be just fine on a lower range day to day. I have a Honda Clarity, which I love, and I almost never use the gas tank, and I have a 50-mile range on my battery. It's 17 kilowatt hours. So I think that for most people, that's kind of really all you need. Anything 200 or more is going to be just fine in all of these vehicles. Check that box. The charging speed is really critical in practical terms. The ability to get these vehicles usable from a depleted charge is critical. Everyone has fears of being stuck at a charging station for hours on end, and with these modern platforms, 150 kilowatt charging, 200 kilowatt charging, 300 kilowatt charging, that's just not the case anymore. So this is really an important metric, and specifically the Kia and Hyundai platforms, the GMP platform is incredible, and we're going to see more vehicles with higher charging speeds, 800 volts for example, coming in the future. Storage, as I mentioned, 0 to 60 time, average 5.4. So all these vehicles are going to be plenty quick. Even the slowest, which is the, the slowest vehicle is 7.8 seconds. That is the VW ID4 Pure, and that's still plenty fast, I think, for most people. Horsepower, on average, about 320, but again, it ranges quite a bit from 146 all the way to 600. But again, these vehicles are all pretty torquey, all provide ample power. That's one of the beauties of EV driving. And the MPGE is a metric to compare this to gasoline based on the mileage per unit energy, whether it's from a battery or a gallon of gas. But not all the trims have MPGE data. Not all the vehicles have EPA analysis yet, so I didn't include that for my analysis. But nonetheless, certainly an important metric and a good proxy for overall efficiency. I also did my own calculations looking at the miles per minute in terms of how many miles you get per minute of fast charging, DC fast charging, how many dollars per mile in terms of the cost of the vehicle based on the mile range of a fully charged battery, miles per kilowatt hour, daily driving efficiency, and miles per pound. And this is basically relating to the weight of the vehicles. Obviously, the lighter the vehicle, the better. So how do these vehicles rank with one another? Well, in terms of overall price, the cheapest 5 vehicles are the Kia Niro EV, the EV6 Light Trim, the ID4, the BVX4, and the Mach E Select. These are the 5 least expensive vehicles and provide amazing values, if you ask me. In terms of dollars per mile, though, things switch up a little bit. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 takes the top spot here in terms of the cost of the vehicle based on the range of the battery. Then the Kia EV6 Wind trim, then the Niro EV, the Ford Mach E Extended, and the BVX4 from Toyota round out the top 5 on this metric. In terms of miles per kilowatt hour, this is daily driving efficiency. When I plug my vehicle in, how many miles do I get per kilowatt hour of charge? Tesla dominates. Their battery tech is phenomenal. Their thermals are the best of the bunch, and it shows. So basically both the long and performance trim are the top 2, then followed by the VW, then both Kia trims in light and wind, the rear-wheel drive models follow up the 4th and 5th slot. In terms of miles per weight, in terms of how efficient these vehicles are based on their overall mass, again, the Tesla Y long trim is the first, then the EV6 Wind, then the Tesla Model Y Performance, the Ioniq 5, and the Niro and the Mach E Extended are tied for 5th on this metric. For speed, the quickest off the line with 3.5 seconds 0 to 60 is the Tesla Model Y Performance. Then the 2 BMWs are close behind. Then the Jaguar I-Pace, definitely more of a luxury performance vehicle, not the best value, but the Ford Mach E Extended is actually the 5th, so pretty quick. Charging speed is critical, and this is really, really important, and not surprisingly, the GMP platform from Kia and Hyundai take the top spots here. So the EV6 Wind and the Ioniq 5, then Tesla, the Model Y, then the EV6 all-wheel drive, and the Tesla Y Performance. So again, when it comes to thermals and batteries, both the Kia, Hyundai, and Tesla group seems to be the top of the track. And in terms of overall storage, the largest of the vehicles is the BMW iX, then the Tesla, then the ID4, surprisingly, and the Mach E and the Jaguar actually are the 4th and 5th with regards to storage. Now, ultimately, each of these categories are my own priorities, what I thought are critical. But if you agree, hit that like button. So now I'm going to summarize everything in terms of ranking, all 18 vehicles from best to worst in terms of overall value. So these are the unofficial Saving Green Electric Crossover EV Rankings 2022 edition. Okay, so here they are. Basically, what I did is I ranked in each of the sections, price, performance, storage, from 1 to 18. Now, the lowest numeric score actually translated to the highest ranking score, so the lowest number overall is the best. And the top vehicle, according to me, is Tesla, actually. The Tesla Model Y, Performance, and Long are the top 2 vehicles overall. And I was surprised by this, especially because of how expensive they are relative to the competition. I thought that the competition might have caught up. In some respects, they certainly have, but overall, Tesla still takes the top spot with the Model Y. Then, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 is the 3rd. Then the Kia EV6 Wind Rear-Wheel Drive Edition is the 4th, and the VW ID4 Pure is the 5th. In terms of overall value and performance, these are your top 5 vehicles. Now, what are the worst 5 performance on this metric? Well, the Volvo C40 Recharge, despite its cool looks and quick acceleration, actually is the worst overall vehicle, which, again, I was surprised and disappointed by because I really like Volvo's direction. But ultimately, the charging infrastructure and speed and storage just isn't up to the competition. Then the 17th and 16th spots belong to the Audi Q4 series. So this small EV crossover section from Audi, certainly a luxury option, more expensive. That's why it doesn't rank as high on the overall value, but nonetheless important to think about. Then the Kia Niro EV is just behind those, or just ahead of those. And I was thinking, well, it's so inexpensive. Why is it ranking so poorly? But it's because it just doesn't have the size, it doesn't have the speed, and the charging is incredibly slow. It's not on the new GMP platform that Kia and Hyundai are propagating through a whole slew of new drivetrains, and unfortunately this older generation is showing. So the Niro EV unfortunately just doesn't rank very high. Just edging above that is the Jaguar I-Pace. Again, a stylistic vehicle that I think is really cool looking and a great early entry into this crossover EV segment, but unfortunately just the technology isn't up to speed comparatively. And then in the middle of the pack, you've got your Ford, you've got your Toyota, and you've got other trims of the EV6 line, etc. So overall, your top vehicles based on price and performance, I still think you're going to be looking at the Hyundai, Kia as the top vehicles. The Tesla, yes, ranks higher, but they still come in at quite a premium. But if you're spending any more than that on the BMW or the Jaguar or the Audi, you're kind of wasting your money according to these calculations. So I hope this was helpful and interesting. If you felt it as such, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. I have a lot of great content on choosing EV vehicles. I actually have a custom calculator that will help you, depending on where you live in the US, which type of vehicle is best between an EV, plug-in, hybrid, gas, even diesel. I look at everything, and all you have to do is type in the price of gas, how much you pay per kilowatt hour at home for charging, and what type of mileage you put on your car each year, and I will tell you your environmental footprint and which vehicle is most cost effective based on the real cost of ownership. So that is also up here if you want to click that link. Again, thank you so much for your time. Now let me know which EV crossover you are most excited about here in 2022, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks again. Bye.